But you know, we've been struggling so long. We've been we kind of got used to the struggle, and we kind of got used to the way. The way is complaining about the situations as they are, and identifying the situations as they are. Okay. But what I want to suggest today is that there comes a point where we just got to recognize this may be the way it is, but if I'm going to be well, I'm going to have to do it myself. Okay? I saw something real funny on TikTok or one of those little social media platforms recently. There was this brother. He was an older guy. He was probably in his 70s. And he was one of the guys that we see when we looked at 1960s black and white real footage of those young people that are sitting down south in a restaurant they're not supposed to be in, and they're like pouring food on their heads and mistreating them and all that. He was one of those guys when he was young, okay, college student and everything, making a stand. And he said, finally, you know, when we got served, I forgot what he said, they had potato salad or something, and there were raisins in it. And he said it was like the worst food he had ever eaten. I guess he was used to his mama's cooking, right? And he said, is this what I suffered all this stuff for? You know, to eat that? You know, and that was kind of humorous. But you know, we have to realize as black people that it really was not, it's not an issue, really wasn't the issue of using the same bathroom as that white guy, or drinking out of the same water fountain as that black guy, as that white guy, or eating in the same restaurant with that white guy. Because really, I'm sure in their own personal time, they probably really didn't even want to be sharing their time with white people. But they recognized that if there was ever going to be equality, true equality, or even a semblance of true equality, those issues had to be addressed first, okay? And so they sat in those restaurants to eat food that they would have rather not eaten, I'm sure. And I'm sure they had no desire necessary that they just had to drink out of the water fountain with the white guy, because the water was the water. But they recognized that these were things that had to be accomplished in order to pave the way for greater things, greater equality, okay? And so we just need to recognize that now. And so what I'm suggesting is that was a time, there was a time for that then, okay? And throughout our history as black people in this nation, you know, we have suffered quite a bit, you know, but there's always been those that have stood out, that have protested, that have made their voices heard. Early on, there were terrible consequences. We know that, even throughout the process. But what I'm suggesting today is we are in a unique place today where the tactics that were necessary are not necessary now. But we can get so caught up into how a thing was done that we can keep doing that and never really experience any progress, okay? And that's what I want to share today, to recognize that things are not as bad as they used to be. And one of the reasons why we are progressing so slowly is not because of white people. It's because of us. If we can get comfortable protesting, we can get comfortable proclaiming, we can get comfortable getting a handout, we can get comfortable asking for handouts and identifying all the things that white people are doing that to us. Now, what I'm suggesting is, look, when you're trying to identify the unfair treatment that you are receiving compared to that white guy, you're putting your own self at a disadvantage. Now, I don't know about you, but the way I was raised, the way many black people were raised, and you hear folks saying this all the time, and I'm here to tell you it's true. My parents raised me to believe that if you wanted to compete on the same level or for the same job as that white guy, you needed to be 10 times better than him, okay? For real. And what I'm suggesting today is when we look back historically at many of the black folks that have paved the way for us, they were 10 times better than that white. Look at Obama, for example, the first one to hit my mind. I mean, come on, everyone he debated with on that stage, whether they were Democrats or Republicans for the President of the United States, intellectually he dwarfed them. He was 10 times better. He became President of the United States. And I'm using him as an example, not that this is what everybody could do, but what I'm suggesting is that each of us could do better, and we could better our lot in life, okay? I look at folks like Jackie Robinson, you know, the baseball player that broke the color barrier into the major leagues. Well, guess what? My mom knew him when she was young, when they were young, at Junction City, Kansas, Fort Riley. She worked in the soda shop, and he was a young officer there in the cavalry. And he was sharp, and he was always protesting, even within the realm of Army life, citing that the Uniform Code of Military Justice didn't allow a disparity in treatment of the black officers and the white officers. And he would sit on the wrong side of the cafe. He would not acquiesce to mistreatment because he was a black man. So he was a man that was 10 times better than those around him. Look in the sports today. Look at 10 times better, right? Look at business. The black folks that are excelling in business and in music, 10 times better. Now, we're not including Taylor Swift in there. I'm not saying white folks aren't great as well. I believe everybody has the potential to be great within an individual self, but there has to be decisions being made, okay? And so I'm just suggesting today that as black people today, if we want to be well, we have to make decisions. And see, the problem is that some of the decisions that we need to make are going to be pretty tough, okay? Like, we need to quit smoking weed. We need to quit drinking alcohol. We need to eat healthy. We need to exercise. We need to get educated. And we need to get armed. If we do these things, we will be well, 100%. Personally, I'm well. I know I'm 65 years old, going to be 66 this year, 2024. But I'm well. And so what I've shared with you, man, I don't get that buzz. I was probably the guy that got the buzz the most. I was that guy back in the day. I don't drink alcohol. I was the guy that drank more alcohol than everybody else. Now, I've never fallen down drunk. If I get to my motorcycle, I was fine. I didn't eat healthy. Now I do. I didn't exercise much. I would practice the martial art every so often when I'd just get that urge. Now I do. I wasn't educated. I had a high school diploma all the way up until I was 60 years old. I earned my MBA. I got armed. I don't break any laws. These are the decisions we have to make. So when I'm suggesting to you there are choices that we have to make, I'm not suggesting anything that I haven't already done. But I'm telling you, and my life is good. What I'm telling you is yours will be too. You know what I'm doing right now? I'm writing I've written like 8 books. They're on Amazon. $2.99, a couple of them. And a hardback. And I'm writing a couple books right now. In about 2 months, I should have a couple of books on the market. The mind. I would have never done this before. Why? Because of my mind. And they're going to be selling. This is passive income, okay? I'm just suggesting that we are the ones that are keeping us behind because the choices that we have to make are just too difficult. But we're going to have to make those en masse. This has got to catch on with black folks. Man, I'm telling you this now. We are superior. But we're holding ourselves down by the decisions and the choices that we're making in life, even the immorality. If we could just get ourselves together and begin to act right and begin to grow and grow healthy without all these issues, man, we would be running this place. We'd be running this country. We are that superior. But we are our own worst enemies because we're finding reasons why we can't. The sacrifice is just too great. Man, I had a buddy of mine, man, he's out there trying to be part of the movement, talking about this, talking about that, but he's cheating on his old lady. And I'm like, you want to talk about black people needing help? But the only black person that you have in your life that you have responsibility over, you're messing her over. So we have to become moral as it relates to our spouses. We have to be moral as it even becomes to our single brothers and sisters, how we respond to them in the street, and are we trying to abuse them? I'm telling you, man, as a people, we have to wake up. We like to say woke, and they like to use woke against us. But the reality is, whatever woke is, we ain't that. If we're still self-destructive and destructive to our own brothers and sisters, we got to get it together. I'm telling you, that's the key. That's the secret. And there was nothing that could prevent us from being extremely successful. And quit that buzz, you'll have a clarity of mind. You'll begin to think of things. Man, my wife has a business now. That's what she's blown out of the water, man. I was clear thinking minded. Walking in the street, called her on the phone and said, "Hey, you need to do this, man." Yeah, she surpassed me. Man, I was reading a book, man, maybe about 15 years ago, an audio book, listening to a book. Clear-minded, clear thinking. Because if I wouldn't be listening to audiobook. I probably would have just been listening to jazz or some reggae or something like that. But no, I'm out there working as a mailman for all those. Man, I've done like over 400 books, audiobooks. Shoot, if I got to be out there walking all day, got to be listening to something that's going to improve me. So what happened? One day I was looking on Audible, and they were having a special 3 audiobooks for the price of 1. And I assume they were like 3 audiobooks that just weren't selling, so they were just offering them out there. One was, Adam Smith, I believe that's his name, on economics. Another was Philosophy of the Great Philosophers, 3 or 4 philosophers. And the third book was How to Buy REOs, bank-owned properties. And I'm like, okay, shoot. So I just bought those. I just forgot about them. Listening to Adam Smith, listened to the philosophers, because I like that kind of stuff. And one Saturday, about a month or so later, 2 months later, I was just bored. It was a beautiful Saturday. I was outside working, had a little Walkman thing going on. I put, or whatever I was using, MP3, and iPod or something. I don't know. But I said, well, why don't I just try this How to Buy Bank-Owned Properties? This should last me, all day and kill the time, make the time go by faster. I listened to that. It was very interesting. So that was on a Saturday. So Monday, I listened to it again. And within 30 days, I owned my first bank-owned property. Okay? Now, and I bought it for like $20,000. It's worth about almost $100,000 right now. I'm just saying that if I had still been that guy getting that buzz, I wouldn't have the clarity of mind to even think to consider a book rather than music. And I was able to make that move. Okay? And I've had that thing, I don't know how many years now, 10 or 11 years now, making almost $1,000 a month. I way made up for that money that I spent on it. So what does that mean? It means if I had been getting that buzz, I wouldn't even have had that investment property. I'm just saying. The degree that I had when I was 50 years old, when Obama became president, I thought, man, this brother is younger than me, has a Harvard education, Harvard attorney, Harvard law professor. He was a senator in Chicago. Now he's president of the United States. And I have a high school diploma from Stebbins High School on Harshman Road over here. I decided, man, that January, that was November, when it was announced he was president, when I came up with this idea. That January, when he entered office, I started at Sinclair Community College just to get an associate degree. 10 years later, I earned my MBA, earned my associate degree, bachelor's degree, and MBA. I have 3 degrees. Imagine that. If I had been getting that buzz, I wouldn't have done that. You know that, right? I'm telling you, man, it's real important to have that clarity of mind. Shoot, man, I've written these books. I've written like 8 books now. Working on a couple more right now. Clarity of mind. Would I be doing that if I was getting that buzz? No, I'd just be sitting around getting that buzz, eating, falling asleep, going to work. Nothing, man. And so what happens then? First of all, when you quit doing that buzz, man, you begin seeing things clearly. See, we think because we're not going through the shakes or going through when we try to stop or going through all this seeing things and all that, that we're not addicted to weed. But we are addicted to weed. If you've been smoking weed for any time, you're addicted to it. Your addiction is that, man, this is just too good. I'm just not going to quit. Well, what do you think that is? That's called an addiction. Man. And even in my day, man, I just thought I was going to be a cool old man one day, you know. Had no idea. That I had no idea. Now there's a clarity of mind. And so immediately, you've heard of the world, an individual's worldview, right? Well, the moment you stop smoking weed for real, your worldview expands. It adjusts to more of a reality of what's going on. And then as you begin to get educated, which is simply a follow on your worldview expanding and your clarity of mind. Man, each degree and the process to the degree, my worldview was ever expanding. And what's very important and what I want to close with today is that when you change your life, when you stop doing weed, when you stop doing alcohol, when you stop getting any kind of buzz, when you stop breaking any kind of laws, when you exercise, when you eat right, when you get armed, your life changes, and that change is generationally transferable to your children. For real. I'll give you an example. When Obama became president, and I started at Sinclair College, my daughter was 3 years old. And so, man, I'm working and studying, especially with the algebra, man. It was a lot. You know, I even took some remedial algebra courses just so I could get, up there. So I was studying. I have a little plant room. I was studying up there. I had a little desk there. My daughter would come up there, man. I'd have balled up paper. I'd be working on algebra problems that would take the whole page and then throw it over there. I had stacks of that. My daughter watched me in school. I missed a half a quarter of school in 10 years. I just continually went until it was done. She saw me in school for 10 years. From age 3 to age 13, I missed a month and a half of school in those 10 years. That's what she witnessed. So what do you think the value of higher education was to my daughter? When all she saw was her dad. In her mind, she's in school, right? She's in an HBCU in another town right now. In her mind, she's going to be an attorney. She's going to be better than Dad. Which is what I expect from my kids. So I'm not saying, because when I say transferable, I mean that's how it's transferable. Whatever you tell your kids, that ain't transferring anything. Your kids are watching you. Man, what you transfer to your children can be strengths. What you transfer to your children can be weaknesses. You're smoking weed in front of your kids. You're drinking alcohol in front of your kids. You're playing on their mom in front of your kids. Whatever you're doing in front of your kids, those are weaknesses. You are transferring that stuff to the next generation as well. What do you think has affected you? A lot of your ills, a lot of your issues were transferred to you from your previous generations. But whatever the ills are, man, you can end that right now. Those ills can stop with you. You can change the trajectory of what they call the generational curse, of the generational issues that have plagued your family. You can say, they're going to stop here, they're going to stop here with me. I'm telling you, man, my kids, I raised my kids to be better than me. And when I graduated from Sinclair College, my son graduated from UC with a bachelor's degree. So I had an associate degree, he had a bachelor's. Same year we graduated, so in his mind, I guess he was better than me. But my daughter now. And my daughter, when I earned my bachelor's degree, she was there when I got my diploma. When I earned my MBA, she was there when I got my diploma. What do you think that's doing for her? What do you think that did for her? Man, that girl... She's a freshman in college right now in another city, in another state. And I think it was Thanksgiving or, sometime we were flying her up here and we could get her up here early. And we said, you can come up here early, but you're going to have to skip one class. She said, I can't skip that class. She said, I'm a scholar. I can't skip that class. I'm telling you. You think I would have done that, Marty, back in the day? No. Probably wouldn't have done it now. She's better than me. but it's transferable, man. Your weaknesses are transferable, but so are your strengths. So begin, especially if you have kids, or especially if you plan on having kids one day, man. Like my kids today, that other Marty I was describing, that guy that did not have a clarity of mind, my kids don't even know that. They don't know Marty, they know Martin. They have no clue. Because those weaknesses would have been transferable. My strengths are transferable. And so, I spent all my time, even I've been eating healthy for my daughter's whole life. So that's all she sees. My daughter doesn't eat sugar. I don't even know how you do that. I didn't drink coffee if I didn't use sugar. But whatever your strength is, so she has seen me eating healthy all these years. So she eats healthy. To an extent that I probably I wouldn't do. But anyway, I guess I can just go on and on and on about this, but the bottom line, in conclusion, of all the issues that we have in this nation today, as black people, our worst enemy is ourselves. If we would clean up our act. Remember, what was that song that MC Hammer, you can't touch this? They couldn't touch you. They couldn't touch you, man. But see, now if you're driving along, and the police get behind you, they run your license, and they say you got a long list of infractions, man, right then your threat level goes up. Just being a black man. So you have to find ways to make sure. Now, back in the day, man, they'd run my tags. Man, I was always on the verge of losing my license. And there were a couple times warrants were out for my arrest, and a couple times I was picked up. That's how I lived back in the day. So I'm not talking about something that I don't know about, okay? But I'm telling you now, when the police officer gets behind me and runs my tags, there is absolutely zero on there. I do get a little bit worried because they know I have a CCW. I'm like, oh, here we go. But I'm telling you, man, I do have my military tags on there. Just, anything you can do, to keep the heat off of you. But I'm just saying, start making some changes. They're going to be tough changes. I'm telling you, if anybody had told me one day I'd have a clarity of mind, I wouldn't be getting that buzz, I wouldn't even have believed it. I couldn't see it. But man, it's like I can't see getting the buzz now. Even alcohol, man, back in the day, man, I'd keep everything, man. My alcohol cabinets were full. If I was home, I was getting a drink at home. If I wasn't at home, I was somewhere else getting a drink. I mean, that was my life. I never imagined to have a life of sobriety. And it's not like I am an alcoholic, I think I probably was back then. But it's like, no, I just don't do that. I could if I wanted to, but I don't. Why would I want to? What's the point? I mean, you see alcoholics, how miserable they are. Man, I have a buddy today, I haven't seen him in a while, that he was in a different branch of service than me. But I see him today, and man, he is like just a stone cold alcoholic, just jacked up, really, really messed up. And I have to believe that if I hadn't stopped, that would be me. All humility, when I see people, when I'm going down the street, and I see people whose lives are all jacked up, man, that's me. And sometimes I think, man, a lot of times it wasn't even my good sense. It was like, it seemed to me like it just happened to be this way, or it happened to be that way. I told this old man this once, man, that I met, because in all humility, I feel like I can't take credit that I'm okay. Because there were things that other people have been jammed up for in life that I got away with, that their whole lives went negative simply because of that. And he said, no, man, whatever it is, and this was an old man, he said, this is who you were supposed to be. And I still didn't feel it, but I just believed him, okay? And so I'm just suggesting today that we are the authors of our future. And I'm telling you, your kids are watching. And if we're ever going to be well as a people, we're going to have to decide en masse that we're going to clean up our act. I don't know if it's something that I can do, like put out the right kind of, like this is a long program, this won't work on TikTok. If I can put something inspirational or motivational out there. But the big thing right now is that, what's her name, Taylor Swift, right? Let me use that as an example. She's like phenomenal, right? I mean, I've never heard any of her songs, but I'm just using her as an example. I saw that she's like phenomenal and very popular all over the world. And excuse me, I saw this guy being interviewed. He said he saw her at some stadium, local stadium, wherever they lived, when she was like 13 years old, trying to sing. And he was like, that girl's never going to make it. And he wasn't being harsh, he just didn't see it. But whatever she had to do, she did. She didn't give up. She did what she needed to do. And I don't know anything about her life, but I can almost guarantee you that she continually, constantly did over and over whatever she needed to do. And those doors opened. And I'll just use the Patrick Mahomes, I guess, from the Kansas City Chiefs. That's the only Super Bowl I've ever watched in my life. I mean, the whole thing, right? So my wife was out of town. I didn't have anything to do. I bought a porterhouse. I haven't eaten one of those in a while, and just sat back and just watched this. But I watched him, and it was amazing. Even the confidence that he had. And he doesn't even look like he's in good shape, but he was handling his business. But that doesn't just come by itself. It doesn't come without sacrifice. Greatness does not come without sacrifice. And what I want to suggest today, if all black people would just wake up and corporately get ourselves together, say, I'm not going to be self-destructive anymore, we would take over this thing. For real. And it's possible. I don't know who the guy was, Maxwell, can't remember what the gentleman's name was, but he done a lot of research on a lot of folks, a lot of successful people. He said if you do anything for 10,000 hours, you'll be an expert. Anything. And that just takes a lot of practice. Like Michael Jordan shooting them baskets, Steph Curry, all those guys, just over and over and over and over and over and over. Eventually, you'll become the best at it. And so I'm telling you now, man. And I'm gonna close. But something that I've been introduced to and I've really been working with lately is AI. Okay. And it's amazing. And I've just really jumped into it. Not long, for about the past week, but I've been, continuously, obsessively, just trying to figure out how this thing works, how to utilize it best for me. And I found some ways that work for me that I'm going to be using monetarily. I'm just saying that that's something. If you're on your smartphone, or if you're on a laptop or whatever, don't just waste your time. Find something to do. Man, what I would do is, if I wasn't on a path right now, I would go onto like Google and Google what could I do with AI that could make me money. And I haven't done that. It's just hitting me right now. That's what I would do. Man, everything. And what should I eat? How should I exercise? All that. Don't forget that part too. And just put your hand to it. Because what we don't want to do, this is what most people do, okay? And most people, black people are part of most people. This is what most people do is we let opportunities go right by us and somebody else gets a hold of it and capitalizes on it, and we're just left in the dark. Now I'm going to tell you something about this AI, okay? First of all, man, when Obama became president, and I went to school, I never keep stuff to myself. I came on this program, and I've done this program the whole time Obama was in office. What I was doing, I was going to school, that right now, when something different is in the air, something is going on, that's not normal, it's like pixie dust or something, get in it. Do something that's not normal. Do something that you haven't done before. Do something constructive. So when I saw Obama became president, it was like, that couldn't be. So I'm going to do something that I couldn't have done. That's why I went to school. Also, I started speaking Arabic, began learning the Arabic language, which I'm still a part of now, as well as Spanish, okay? Something different. And I was telling folks that all the time. Now is the time. Everybody was mad at Obama. You weren't born here, you hate America and all that stuff. While they're all focused on him, he had the Secret Service, they couldn't hurt him. Well, everybody's focused on him and not focused on you. Now's the time to do something. Yes, they when getting is good. Man, by the time Obama, he went into office in January, I started Sinclair. A little bit after he left office, While he was in office, I earned my associate degree, I earned my bachelor's degree, and soon after he left office, I earned my MBA. Because there was something going on, something unimaginable. So shoot, I was going to do something impossible, unimaginable, that had been unimaginable all my life. I'm telling you, you have the power. If I could do it. Man, I was just a guy out there, okay, back in the day. I was just a regular guy, just doing regular stuff, you know, at the clubs every night, partying, having fun, all that stuff. That's who I was. Some of y'all, I assume, who see me on this program remember me from the days at Spunky's, at the Joint in Page Manor, at Dizzy's Lounge, at Fat Daddy's, at Spectrum, someplace down in Cincinnati, some clubs in Cleveland. I remember one night, me and my buddy, we just drove to Chicago one Friday night just to shoot some pool. I'm just saying, that's who I was. But that is not who I am now. You have the ability to change the entire trajectory of your life. So because I changed, I had a son, graduated from UC. He's a professional, making 6 figures, making more money than me, because I was able to change the trajectory. My daughter went to one of the best schools in the region, all throughout elementary and middle, they call middle school, I guess, and high school. And now she's in college, and she's doing phenomenal. But if I had been that guy, if I hadn't changed the trajectory, jeez, man, this would have been a whole alternate universe thing going on. I'm telling you, you have that ability to either live a mediocre life or live a great life. You have the ability to pass on a mediocre life to your children or pass on a great life to their children. It's up to you. How's that?